These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. How the fuck's that even happen? We're two grown men on a mission now, so buckle up and just strap in.
I ran so far away. I just ran. I ran all night and day. I couldn't get away.
These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. It's America's barley basket.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of America's Barley Basket. I'm your host, Marlin Wells, alongside host Nathan Fulsabach. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Marlin.
How are ya?
You know, I'm okay.
Yeah?
I wish I could have drummed up a little more excitement. Our dear listeners deserve more, but I also don't want to lie to them. I'm getting by.
You're real. You're real with them.
I'm real. I'm between Roro shots because I like to just get my second Roro shot and be done with it.
Yeah, you're waiting on number 2.
Yep. I have one last podcast recording. I will get my next one 8 days from now. So we have one more podcast to go, and then I'll be fully vaxxed and look out, world.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Getting your own 5G signal. And...
Yep. Oh, God, yeah. Getting better radio reception with all the microchips they shove up your butt. That's how they give you a choice. They don't put it out there, but if you want, they'll just put it up your butt, too.
I love that, like, for the sake of comedy, assuming that the 5G in the vaccine is real, which it definitely isn't, it could not be wasted on someone more than it would be on you.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who just wants AM radio and nothing but headlocks wrestling, 5G would not be for you.
There needs to be, if someone started a league, nothing but headlocks, I would be, I'm intrigued.
Ooh, I'm listening. Your old Jim Cornette ass tastes in wrestling.
I see for a couple moments, and boy, this is for about one fraction of 1% of our listeners. The
Perfect.
NWA looked like it might be MIA for a brief moment there. All of their content was off YouTube, but now it just sounds like they're moving it to some other thing, which I probably like it on YouTube, but I'm just glad they still exist. So we will have our nothing but headlocks wrestling still. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I'm just thinking of it now. But God, I can't wait to watch more NWA wrestling.
I'm waiting for you to start your own promotion. Nothing but headlocks.
Hey. We only do half Nelsons, Buster. No full Nelsons. That's showboard.
I don't want any of your fancy shit like a full Nelson.
Yeah. After hours of debate, I compromise and I allow moves off the bottom turnbuckle. When I was a kid, up until I think the end of the promotion, I'm pretty sure AWA wrestling, it was an instant DQ if you threw somebody over the top rope. I'm positive that's what it was. Think of that in today's wrestling market. And was shit off the top turnbuckle not allowed?
I'd believe it based on what you just told me.
Yep. Over the top rope, instant DQ.
Unreal.
And they're just wondering, why are we making it?
How come
why
we
aren't
can't
the kids flocking to see Nick Bockwinkel defend our belt? He's 5'11", 185 pounds of mushy dad meat. How are the kids not just eating this up?
Mushy dad meat is also my favorite Delta blues musician.
I was going to say Pornhub sub-channel. Gonna stuff all this in there, God willing.
Oh, God. Elvis Presley stole a lot from mushy dad meat in his early years.
Mushy dad meat. Sold a soul to AARP.
Oh, Christ. There's going to be some, I know it's not your bag, but I'm stoked for some wrestling tonight as we record this. This is Sunday the 7th. This will come out on Tuesday, so this will all be after the fact. But there's an AEW pay-per-view tonight that I'm pretty hyped about.
And And my dislike of AEW, I mostly it's a lot of it's just for comedic purposes, because I know it riles. I'm getting cheap heat from my buddies that love AEW.
Real cheap heat.
Some of the guys I enjoy. I like Cody Rhodes. I get a kick out of Chris Jericho. But it's some of the booking. It just seems like nothing matters. Like the tough guys get beat. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. And I hate that Canadian dude that some wrestling fans just love.
If you're talking about Kenny Omega, I'm going to end this podcast.
It's so like,
oh, buddy,
it's almost like he dislikes wrestling and he's like mocking it. Like, it's just like the hand. He's like big Ernie McCracken from Kingpin if he was a wrestler and not. Everything's just theatrics. It's like, that just makes me sick. Like I think maybe we've discussed this before. Make him be the shitty fucking heel asshole that he is, so America can cheer as he gets stomped half to death by a real tough guy. Like, find the next Stone Cold and let him just destroy Kenny Omega in a giant vicious like feud for a year.
Well, I mean that he turned the corner and turned heel here probably 4 or 5 months ago, and is super smarmy and shitty about it.
Oh yeah,
so
I guess
he might be giving you what you want now.
Okay, yeah. Well,
he and Jon Moxley will be having an exploding barbed wire death match tonight. A straight up like Japanese Terry Funk-esque exploding barbed wire death match.
God, that does sound like something like late 90s Japanese, like,
yeah, that sounds like something you would have to tape trade for,
yeah,
to be able to see.
Some of that gets a little too carny for my taste, but I could still kind of enjoy it a little bit. Like, I used to love NWA in the late 80s, early 90s, and probably getting into WCW. They were always good for throwing one kind of like specialty match on the mid card of a Clash of the Champions or something like that. Like, Terry Garvin and Kevin Sullivan are going to have a whatever, like, they used to have a match where they put bags over each other's heads and they have to fight blind, which...
Yep, or a dog chain match.
Yeah, Russian strap match, or... Basically, the strap or the rope was just named after whatever nationality one of the guys is. We got a Texas bull rope match. Got an Indian strap match.
I'm pretty positive that in the WWE not 5 years ago, that John Cena faced Alexander Rusev in a Bulgarian strap match. So,
so does each former communist bloc country have its own distinct straps? Hey guys, this is clearly a Romanian strap. I don't know who we got to talk to.
Yeah, I don't know. We're not doing Czech Republic rules, guys.
Yeah,
come on. Rein it in.
Look at the ornate designs. This is clearly Hungarian.
Don't you come at me with a Ukrainian stipulation.
Yeah, when I first got into wrestling was kind of at the end of the golden age of scaffold matches, which even as like an 8-year-old boy, the novelty wore off quick. That's like, they can't do shit up there.
That's the thing. Like, you think like, oh God, the excitement of what if someone falls, but really all it is 2 or more men gingerly trying to keep their balance.
Yep. Holy shit, what a bad idea. Like, I'm sure I've heard it and I've forgotten in like shoot interviews from old pro wrestlers. They had to have hated it, right?
Oh, I'm sure. I bet if you read that on your card that night when you got to the arena, you're like, oh, God damn it.
Especially the fact that the guy that's setting up the scaffolding is also the guy you drank 19 old Milwaukee's with the night before. And he's sweating as much as you are.
He's just as hungover as you are. Some of that stuff is not for me. I'm generally not one for like ultra brutal hardcore type matches, but I'm looking forward to this one tonight just because of the novelty of like, wait, we're gonna do this in America on pay-per-view, seriously? So
I can see the novel. I never, like, especially like in the early 2000s, kind of when hardcore matches really catching on stateside. I would just get bored, like, oh great, more tax, more light bulbs. Like, It's just like it just becomes geek show. It's like, fuck, whatever, I guess. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that real ugly shit isn't for me. I get a little squeamish. I'm a soft boy. I don't need to see somebody with half a fluorescent light tube sticking out of their neck.
yeah,
I'm good.
And it just seems like that was the act. That was the show. Hey, look at us do this shit. It's like, well, I don't even care about these characters. Like, I don't care who wins. It's like, hey, see if one of them will eat a dead rat, you know? Basically, it just turns into that. Like,
it turns into daring your buddies to do dumb shit on the playground.
Yeah, exactly. Put a firecracker up in his nose. See what happens then. Like, oh, fuck, he's disfigured.
Oh, man, that was ugly. Yeah,
I'm going to go grab a beer. Holler if one of these guys dies. I won't really care, but it'd be interesting to see.
I want to be here for it. I want to be able to say I saw it.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I like when, like, a foreign object, like, what is, like, because when you go without foreign objects for a long time, when one gets used, it's rad. Like, oh, fuck, look at this son of a bitch. He's got a chair. Like, instead of a match that starts off with 40 chairs in the ring.
I think you'd have loved this past week on AEW Dynamite where Tully Blanchard returned to the ring for the first time in like 30 years.
Oh, no shit.
And at one point, J.J. Dillon was there and interfered by throwing him his shoe, which he waffled some guy with.
Huh. I don't even remember Tully Blanchard's career ending. Like, just seems like he was gone. Like, you know, when I was a kid, he was one of the Horsemen, and then he went to WWF, was the Brain Busters with Arn, and then he's like, I think maybe he went back to WCW, but I sure don't remember him working. I don't know if he got hurt.
I don't really remember him post Brainbusters, so I don't really know what happened to Tully after that.
And I clearly remember, you know, Arn was still doing in-ring work into the late 90s. Like,
yeah, it was cool, and he still worked just fine. Wore a hell of a tracksuit, also. So that was
good for him.
That was a highlight.
Isn't Arn on camera in AEW?
Yeah, he is. He's playing kind of the trainer of the Cody Rhodes crew. So, like, he comes out with a play card the way a football coach would, which is dumb.
Does he ever take any bumps or?
He's thrown a spine buster here and there over the past year or so.
Yeah, I used to love when Arn or Bobby Eaton would show up early in like a Nitro or a Thunder card in the late 90s, because it just like felt like such a which one of these things doesn't belong here. It's like, oh, Bobby Eaton's going to lose a match to Glacier. Sorry, Bobby.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they didn't let Glacier not be Glacier after they gave up on that whole fucking Mortal Kombat ripoff storyline.
Oh, God, that fucking thing.
It's like, well, Mortis is now like a guy. He's like part of Raven's flock. Can I do that? Nope, you're fucking Glacier.
Yep, get out of here.
You're going to keep doing this silly shit.
He's apparently earned a fair bit of cred on the indies in recent years because he's apparently like a pretty decent worker, and B, like the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
I always thought his in-ring was good. Like,
yeah. So this is a Simpsons podcast.
Oh, yes.
Fucking 15 minutes in talking about wrestling.
Am I going to talk more about Glacier than I am about And I got to explain this. I don't want to, like, just for the people that don't follow wrestling, 22 years ago, 23, 24 years ago, this wrestling promotion, hey, the kids love the Mortal Kombat. So we're going to make grown men dress up in like Mortal Kombat style characters. Correct me if I'm making any mistakes here in the storyline.
I'll jump in if I have to, but so far so
obviously,
good.
it fucking flopped, because we know what you can do in Mortal Kombat? You can rip guys' fucking spines out. Basic Cable frowns on the removal of spines on live television, so
yeah, the Turner networks weren't gonna
all
let
these
you.
no-name wrestlers dressed up like fucking idiots, pretending, and then they quickly gave up on it. But one poor sap named Glacier still had to wear a weird face mask thing, and had to have weird fake snow, which I'm sure was carcinogenic, and he's breathed in a ton of it. And yeah, he like weirdly did karate moves, stuff. You just felt bad for the fella the whole time.
Yeah. He really drew a short straw out of the gimmick bucket.
Yeah. Oh, man. There's a lot of that in the 90s. Boy, early 90s WWF. Oh, boy.
Yeah. You're a garbage man. You're a hockey player. You're a dentist.
You're like a friar with poor hygiene or whatever. Like, nothing makes sense. You're a fucking hockey goon.
Yeah,
you're a Mountie. You're a Michael Jackson knockoff. I think that guy got like one match in 1988, and they called it like, "Woof, this is not good."
Wrestling, it's not always good. That's the new T-shirts that we'll have out for everyone to order. We got to establish a merch page. We got to start making some fucking money off this podcast. We're 39 episodes in, haven't made a dime.
Yeah. Who wants to own a America's Barley Basket duster?
I have owned a duster in my life.
I want a bright yellow, Simpsons yellow America's Barley Basket duster.
Got the logo on the back.
Ankle length.
With the shoulder cape.
Bright banana yellow pleather duster for $1,700.
Yep.
Because that could not be cheap to get made.
Line up, people. Limited time. 3 weeks from now, we're like, we haven't sold any of these dusters. We really lost our ass on these dusters.
Why don't we buy 1,000 of them?
got a whole fucking storage unit full of these bright ass yellow dusters.
Yeah.
Tried giving them to Goodwill. They told me to go home.
Yeah. But we sometimes do occasionally discuss The Simpsons. We sometimes get tricked into talking about The Simpsons on this podcast.
I think deep down we both want to host a wrestling podcast. Yeah. Is what this is.
But you know what? Sometimes you just got to accept your lot in life, Marlin. And we're doing a Simpsons podcast, like it or not.
The siren song of The Simpsons brings us right back.
Joylessly plow through these episodes.
Oh, I don't know about joylessly. I continue to be the sunshiny one of the two of us, and that's a role that I am not used to filling. Yeah.
So our first episode today is The Joy of Sect.
Get it? It's like the joy of sex.
See, yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So the Simpson family goes to the Springfield airport to welcome in the team who is returning from losing the big game. The details are real vague about the team, the game, the sport they play.
The team.
And again, I'm going to mention that a town that is small enough to have a volunteer fire department has professional sports franchises that fly. So they're obviously a big deal. They're not on a bus. They're flying in. While they're there,
whatever you need.
Yeah. And while they're there, Homer points out a lot of the different, I don't know what you would call kind of the subsections of bizarre religious folk that hang out at the airport.
Which is I, to be fair, have not spent a lot of time in airports, but like you always hear the stereotype of like in the 70s, like, oh, the Hare Krishnas are at the airport handing out pamphlets, and I've never seen that once in my life.
Yeah,
but
very good point.
I also have only been in airports post like 2005, so it doesn't surprise me that I've never bumped into one.
I wonder if maybe it's like a coast thing, like the major coastal airports have like Hare Krishnas and.
You don't think the Hare Krishnas are in Fargo, North Dakota?
the Minot International Airport. Fun fact, the Minot International Airport used to get random giant celebrities that would pop in because it was like a fueling spot between like West Coast to Europe flights. And it was also a place where they could quickly get their passport stuff taken care of real quick. So
that makes sense.
Speaking of Michael Jackson would sometimes be in Minot for 7 minutes, as would Princess Di. Like, and
wow, look at
shocking.
Minot.
Yep, as As shocking as it is, there's not really a big paparazzi scene in Minot, so they wouldn't have to worry about me getting marauded by gross dudes with Polaroid cameras.
Yeah, at most, they're going to bump into Greg, who works at the grain elevator, and he's going to go, hey. And that's it. End of interaction. Just hey and a point.
Yeah. From like 8 feet away. Just keep walking.
I saw that Michael Jackson fella today. Yeah, you did, Greg. All right. Yeah. I just need some soy meal here.
Yeah, Greg, you need to keep the garage door open when you're working on things. I think you're getting too many exhaust fumes in the old noggin. Well, while they are at the airport, they are confronted by a group called the Movementarians. And true Homer fashion, he mocks them originally, and within a few turns of a phrase, he is convinced to give them a try. And then and one of the few things... Let's get it out here. I didn't like this episode. One of the few things I did enjoy was stupid Homer fashion. He is quickly... how quickly he goes from well, this is dumb to hey, they now own our house and we're going to go live on their compound. And one thing I'll mention is, did you notice Homer starts saying the phrase jerk ass early on? He calls somebody a jerk ass. It just seems
I didn't catch that at all.
Forced. It's just is this an attempt to him be funny or edgy? It's ugh.
Are you chasing the South Park money?
Yeah, that's
trying to be hardcore.
That's what it felt like. Why? It just not. Oh, bro. The fucking warning lights just keep going off in these episodes, man.
Man, I thought this episode was all right. I didn't really have any problems with this one. And
one thing I did enjoy is how quickly it spread through the community. And when it cuts to the church and it's Reverend Lovejoy up on the pulpit, and then it turns to show the crowd. It's just the Ned Flanders family. Yep. And Lenny.
Lenny didn't get swindled by this.
He didn't
these
get
cultists.
Tricked into the movementarian. Yep. Oh, man. Fuck. Oh. You know what? I was just going to say, for the longest time, I was you know what? We need a cult. We haven't had a good cult since Heaven's Gate. Then the 2020 election came around, or just Trumpism in general. You know what?
Yeah.
Had my fill of cult behavior.
Yeah, we have a cult now. Yeah.
Because honestly, if in 2010 you were to say, hey, this D-list shitty celebrity is going to run for president, that's viable, but he's going to win, and people are going to worship him. There's going to be stores that just sell president memorabilia. It's well, no, that's a business that's doomed to failure. Oh no,
yeah.
You'll be able to support a family selling fucking Donald Trump T-shirts. That's could you imagine trying to make a living selling George Bush Senior T-shirts in 1990? No, Republicans wouldn't buzz. That's dumb.
Yeah,
no,
why would you want that?
Oh my God, just baffling.
Unlike the movementarians who spend their days picking lima beans, which is the worst bean. I'll say it.
Yeah, it's a very. That's a joyless bean.
That is a garbage tier bean.
I've never been eating a meal and thought it needs more lima beans.
Yeah, if only I could get some lima into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not much of a bean person to begin with, but lima, bottom of the barrel bean.
Yeah. And we do get a little bit of your homeboy, Mr. Burns makes an appearance in this episode.
We do.
He wants in on this sweet, sweet cult money.
Because he's mad that some other rich guy has a cult and is able to not pay taxes.
Yeah.
Even after Smithers points out that they pay $3 a year in taxes.
Yeah. And there was a good visual gag of Burns coming out with a fake Greek golden god body, which fails disastrously.
Oh God! When he steps onto that balcony and says "Ahoy, hoy, lowly mortals!" Fuck! Holy shit! I was laughing.
Oh yeah, but it fails spectacularly. And one thing that's bugging me too is the Smithers' gay innuendo jokes are getting more ham-handed. It's like, oh, like
they're getting way more overt with it, where it's like this was better when it was subtle.
Yeah,
I think.
It's like, oh man, fuck, man, I'm not ready for this, dude. And even Bart and Lisa, who right away are just like, this is dumb, but let's make the best of it. They both are sucked into the cult and they become true believer movementarians. And meanwhile, Marge has been able to avoid it the whole time, and she's able to escape the compound, even though it's very, very dangerous. Just like alligators and I think maybe
minefields.
Minefields and packs of dogs. But she gets out. She comes to Reverend Lovejoy, who is about to burn the church down, which maybe a little extreme.
Yeah.
And they get the services of groundskeeper Willie to help get their family out of the cult. And he it's like kind of are they in a fake Rolls Royce, or how do they get onto the?
Yeah, they're in the Rolls Royce and they invite Homer and the kids into the car, and they think it's the leader, but they Willie steps on it and they get him out of there, and then they're trying to deprogram the Simpsons.
And they get him back, and then the Homer, they basically can't deprogram. He is just so into it. But then they get the taste of beer on his lips, and that's when things change. But around that time, the movementarian lawyers have burst into their underground deprogramming basement, and they're bringing Homer back. And from there, it's basically, God, these are such fucking uninspiring episodes, Marlin. It's like, whatever happens, I don't know, they all died. The end. God damn it. Man, it just turns out that the movementary leader is a fraud. There's a decent visual gag of him like a old-timey airplane / helicopter with bags of money tied to it.
Yeah, and like pedal controlled.
Yeah, because that's what was powering the actual spaceship. Yeah. And then, they all go home.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Nope, that turns out it was fake, and everyone goes home.
Here's my notes at the end of this episode. Shit episode. Period.
Really?
We're
Man,
fucked,
you are
Marlin.
So
period.
Negative.
We are absolutely fucked.
That wasn't my favorite episode of the week by any means, but it was fine.
Oh man, I'm gonna need to siphon some of your positivity. I'm still enjoying it just for the talking about it factor, but it's like fuck. This just doesn't that for me. That would have been the typical whatever shit sitcom aired before that episode of The Simpsons is probably just as funny as that episode of The Simpsons. It's like
I like that at the I almost said airplane store, but that's not what airports are. At the airport, there's a bookstore that is called the Just Crichton and King bookstore.
Yeah.
And I noted that I would love that bookstore because I am a real basic bitch when it comes to my fiction.
So I've never read a Michael Crichton book before.
Oh, I would recommend a couple. I would recommend Congo and Sphere.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Those are both very good. The Jurassic Park books are also good.
Okay. I have enjoyed plenty of Stephen King. So I'm with you there.
Yeah,
I'm a big
fan.
King short story guy. I mean, his novels are good, but I think he's at his best with short stories.
The short stories are good. I'm impressed that he can write a short story because anytime he sits down to write a novel, those books are fucking long.
Yep. And I appreciate the fact that he still does do it because he'll even talk about it. The money ain't in short stories. It's in the novels. But
yeah, and his novels are he will spend pages and pages describing a room. And you're like, all right, bud, come on, Steve, let's wrap this up.
Yep.
Please put in some dialogue.
Yeah, you can tell that he's not told no very often by his editor. So
yeah, read Desperation, and there's a whole chapter describing the jail cell. God damn it, dude.
Interesting choice. Desperation is on the very short list of my favorite Stephen King novels.
It's a very good one.
I love. And then what's the one that's almost like a kind of a. It's like a sister book to it, where it's like the same premise, just in a different area.
It's
The Regulators.
Yep, The Regulators.
And they were often sold together. They came out around the same time too. And I love those books are so fucking bleak.
Yeah.
So bleak. Like, oh my God. Like,
I'm a fan of the fella. I read it when I was like 10 and never looked back.
That's
too young to read it.
I found a used at our library, like the books for sale. They had Stephen King's first short story collection. Is it called Night Shift, I think?
Yep.
And I bought it for like a dime. A box of books for a dime. And I bought that beat up old paperback copy. And I was like hooked. I was probably like 11 or 12. I was a bit older, but holy smokes. I was like, this is where it's at. I enjoy his, like, I used to like when he had that long running article in Entertainment Weekly called The Pop of King.
Oh, I never.
Yeah, just him talking about whatever's in the news or in pop culture and just his thoughts on it and stuff. Kind of an interesting cat.
Huh.
He was the one that I remember like, him railing at like people that were against like, oh, all they make is big, like comic book movies or remakes. Like, yeah, because that's what you fucking idiots are going to. Like, I remember he brought up a good point. He's like, if Mystic River would have came out in 1984 instead of 2004, it would have been like a top 10 grossing movie of the year. But yeah, adults are fucking lazy and they don't go to good movies anymore. Like, they just lay on the couch and they'll watch whatever, But, this is pre-streaming when he wrote this. But, like, it's like, yeah, they'll start making good movies for adults if adults start going to movies again. Which I've always believed that. Like, if you hate movies, go to good ones. Be a part of the solution, not the problem.
Between your I only want headlocks and these damn kids and their comic book movies, cracks me up. You're so old.
Yeah. And I like the comic book movies, but I wish there was more like good dramas that were playing in the theaters too, like there can be both. There used to be both. And there's still the tiny little awesome indies, but I miss the time when you could have a bigger budget movie that wasn't tied to a remake or a comic book. But like those movies often fail, so the studios don't want to take the fucking chance on it anymore, Like we need to go to good movies. So laying like on the couch and watching ones. Fucking so Scrubs good. For the 17th time or fucking The Office.
That I feel like the Scrubs one is an attack, and I won't have it. I'll stand by I will stand by the shade you're throwing at The Office, but you leave Scrubs out of
I think they're both. I think Scrubs is an enjoyable show, but every once in a while, instead of watching an episode of a sitcom for the 47th time, you got to put pants on. You got to go face the day. You got to drive to the movie theater, buy a ticket, and sit with strangers and have a 2-hour experience with them. It makes us better people.
Who is this fucking Tony Robbins Nathan that we're getting here?
God
damn.
Have cameras placed strategically through your apartment. I've been paying attention to your de-evolution during this quarantine. We need to get you out with people again.
I'm falling the fuck apart, man. You're not wrong.
Oh, yeah. As I sit in what is lit like a poorly lit bunker. There's way more burnt out light bulbs than functioning light bulbs in this basement.
Oh, boy. Light bulbs are cheap and not time consuming to replace.
But then that also involves putting pants on and going somewhere.
See, you get it. You get where we're all coming from.
Hey, yeah, I'm not part of the problem when it comes to movies. I go to when we're back in the before times, I do go to a lot of movies.
Mm-hmm. I like the experience of going to a movie theater.
Mm-hmm. As we may have discussed, though, I think you are you pro assigned seating at movie theaters?
Absolutely.
I am. Nope. We've had this. I like to be in there. I like to be like a free safety. I want to be Steve Atwater. I'm at the line of scrimmage. I back up 10 yards. I come up 10 yards. I'm scouting everything pre-snap. I'm looking everywhere, trying to see where I'm going to go, where I'm going to make my play. I can't be locked into a seat.
No, I like to know exactly where I'm sitting before I leave my home.
Oh, man, yeah, I can't do it. I like the surprise. Like, hey, if I get there early, I'm going to get my choice. Where am I going to go? I want to be away from people that smell, people that are going to be loud.
Without order, there's only chaos.
Yeah.
I want to know my seat.
like an afternoon movie once. So there was many people there, and like an older couple sat in front of me, and the woman in the couple applied thick layers of some kind of medicinal balm onto her arms, and it just reeked. Like, what's going on? Like, something that smells that strong, I don't think you should be leaving the house. What kind of skin ailment, and is it contagious? Like, I can almost smell that in my head to this day. It smells like I gotta move. Like,
was that lady in a bad fire? I don't...
Exactly. Is she like cursed? Like,
does she haunt children's dreams?
I always thought that Thinner was a documentary. I always had the sneaking suspicion.
Oh, God. Episode 15 of season 9 is Das Bus. The Simpson family is pulling an all-nighter watching a Noah and the Ark movie, so much so that it's literally an all-nighter, just making a joke about how long some of those old biblical movies are.
Are you old enough to remember when those used to air every year, like on network TV?
No. Like, I feel like I would... Like, I remember the occasional, like, TV event. Like, I always think of Marlin with Sam Neill, the guy from Jurassic Park. Like, occasionally, like, once a year, you would get the TV movie event of the year. But I don't remember specifically, like, these Bible ones.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, I think around Easter, they would show, like, the Ten Commandments. They'd break out those old 50s giant epic biblical movies.
The Golden Age movies.
They're like fucking a whole evening's worth. But like, you bring up a good point. Like, do they still do the big, like, advertise the shit out of it mini-series events? I don't think so. Not like they used to.
Yeah, not like they used to,
like,
for sure.
That shit was like destination. Like, you're planning it out. Like, oh, we have to be home on Thursdays because... You know, I remember Lonesome Dove being a big thing.
Yeah.
Like, Lonesome Dove was big, yeah. I think before our time, there was the Thornbirds was a big one. Oh, then Roots was a giant miniseries event.
Yeah, I don't know that that's a thing anymore. I don't know that, like, CBS is going to produce something that eventually gets put on DVD.
Yeah,
you know?
I think what kind of replaced it is now we have serialized dramas on, like, cable. You know, like, that's what that kind of, you know, because that was the thing about those big miniseries. You kind of had to be there and catch each one or you'd be lost in the storyline. And
it was their one budget blowout. But now, like, I'm sure... any given season of The Walking Dead costs 20 times what any of those movies did. Yeah.
Like, the only thing those movies might have had cost over a show like The Walking Dead is they did actually get movie stars in them. Like, you know, like Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones are in, Lonesome Dove. Like, they were big fucking names in 1989 or 1990 or whenever that came out, you know, like...
But now, and it's been this way for the past probably 15 years, we're kind of in the golden age of television where movie stars just are on TV.
Yeah, isn't that it? Yeah, that's interesting, which used to not be the case. It used to be the case like, oh, your career's not doing so hot if you have to settle for TV. Or it's like you were a young star, like an actress, but then you get that older and maybe now, you know, you're not getting big movie roles and you want the schedule stability if you have kids because, you know, working on TV is more like a 9 to 5.
Yeah. I mean, Forrest Whitaker was on season 5 of The Shield like the year after he won the Oscar for Last King of Scotland.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And I think we've discussed this before. There was a time you would never in a million years appear on a commercial on TV if you were a movie star because that was supposed to be beneath you. You would do it overseas markets, but you would never see like Arnold Schwarzenegger on an advertisement in America. But now they don't make money like they used to. Like movie stars don't make money like they did 20, 30 years ago. So now they do. Like Matthew McConaughey's peddling Lincolns, you know, like
that's the first one I thought of. And and in addition, movie stars have also taken away the voice acting jobs, because it's like, you know, like fucking Jeff Bridges is the voice of Hyundai and has been for years, and before that it was some voice actor.
Yep. Or even in animated movies for kids, like if you watch like a Disney movie from the 80s, there wasn't any famous people, but then it kind of started in the 90s. You had Robin Williams doing the genie in Aladdin, and now it seems like every notable character is someone famous. Like,
that all changed at some point.
It's fascinating that like people used to go to movies just because of the face on the poster. It's like, oh, I like Tom Cruise. Oh, I like Julia Roberts. Like, and now it's all about like, what's this? Like, what franchise what vehicle is this? Like, is this a book I enjoyed? Like, that kind of thing. Like the star, which I mean, I don't know if one is necessarily better than the other, you know, like.
Well, and I think now people know directors. People who aren't film nerds know directors now, to some extent. Not everybody, but like you can say things like the new James Cameron movie and people go see it because of him.
Yep.
And then it turns out to be Avatar, and that's a mistake. But like,
well, that's something else we'll have to discuss, because I enjoyed Avatar.
I saw Fern Gully when I was a kid, so I didn't need to see it again as Avatar. I didn't need to see a live action version.
I'd say it's more like Fern Gully added to Dances with Wolves.
Yep.
It's Dances with Wolves in the Fern Gully universe. That said, still enjoyed it. I love James Cameron knows how to do action shit. Like his big fight scenes are so fucking good, man. Like all that like jungle stuff with like the spaceships versus the aliens. Oh man, sign me up. Far
this
from
coming
a perfect
from the
movie.
same man who was just saying we need more like kind of low-key dramatic films.
Yeah. But one thing you got to give Avatar, it ain't based off a previous movie. It ain't based off an Avatar book that was a big hit.
You said it yourself. It's based off 2 previous movies.
But I mean, it's not truly based off them. It's not not like the people that made that movie big were Dances with Wolves fans.
By the way, what a way to identify yourself as. Like, I'm just super into Dances with Wolves.
Man, that's a movie I have not seen since it probably came out.
I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid. I wonder how that even holds up.
When I think of Dances with Wolves now, I just think of it as the movie that like film nerds are salty about winning Best Picture when it came out the same year as Goodfellas.
Oh, yeah. So they're watching this Noah and the Ark movie. They stay up all night, literally to where the movie ends and the kids have to go to school. The kids are in school practicing their Model UN. A lot of fun jokes here, like Martin doing the Finnish dance that he learned. There's some borderline racist stuff in here. I like that Bart represents Libya and just has like that general outfit on.
Gaddafi look, yeah.
Meanwhile, Homer bumps into Flanders. Flanders has been selling rugs on the internet, and this was the first thing where I was like, oh, we're at the internet. Like we're gonna have the Simpsons talking about the It felt like a shift into a new thing, because they've barely mentioned the internet before. Yeah,
little here or there, but this episode prominently features it.
Yeah, and this came out in 98. I'm like, yeah, that's about right. Yeah. That sounds like about the time all this happened. The kids are on the bus heading to the Model UN thing that they have to do, and the bus flies off a bridge. And because Milhouse accidentally rolled a grapefruit under the brake pedal, and Otto floats away. The kids all swim to a deserted island because Springfield has whatever you need it to have.
Yep.
I don't know where they were going, where this desert island is.
This whole premise, I bet, really irked Simpsons fans. Like, because remember, like seasons ago when people were bitching about the Homer in Space episode.
Yeah,
this has Homer in Space vibes, definitely.
I like that. I really like Lord of the Flies and always have. So I was pretty into this episode because I like that Bart has the conch right away. Like as soon as the kids wash up on shore and Bart isn't immediately like on screen, I'm like, we've got to have a conch, right? That has to be here, and it is. Bart blows on the conch, gets everyone together, and he's got grand plans of how awesome this is going to be living on this desert island, which that doesn't pan out at all. Yeah. They find like 3 berries that they're pretty sure are poisonous, and they look over and is it Ralphy or Martin? I think it's Ralphie. Has eaten a bunch of them and collapses.
They taste like burning.
Oh, God bless you, Ralphie. Don't ever change.
Yeah. As a kid, I always thought like cool tree houses were the greatest thing ever, but man, cool tree house is tough to make work in real life. Tree houses are usually not cool at all.
You ever had a tree house? You ever been in a tree house in your life?
Yeah. Me and my buddy Damien, shout out to Damien, who probably listens to this, we'll hear this eventually. We built a tree house in his backyard, and we thought it was the coolest shit ever. And I thought it was the coolest shit ever. It was basically just a couple of planks about 5 feet off the ground, because when you're a little kid, that's
high up.
Yeah. But I remember we heard word that one of the older mean kids, I don't know, apparently did not like the fact that we were happy, and he was going to knock down our treehouse. So we removed our own treehouse just to like avoid his wrath. Is there anything more depressing than watching children dismantle their own treehouse?
Man, you learned at a real early age not to be too happy too publicly.
Holy shit, did we ever.
Boy, that's something to tell a therapist about.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Homer's getting his home office set up. Back at the island, or back out at sea, Otto is scooped up by Japanese fishermen, and he's going to be put into slavery at the cannery. Again, not sure geographically where the hell we are.
Yep.
Back on the island, I think it's one of the creepy twins says, "I'm so hungry I could eat at Arby's," which I thought was a really funny joke, but at the same time, I felt the need to come to the defense of Arby's, which I enjoy quite a bit.
I think Arby's is perfectly fine.
Yeah. I think it's easily forgettable. I never think of it right away. I only think of an Arby's when I'm driving by an Arby's.
Yeah.
But that's fine. You get some jalapeno poppers and roast beef. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, curly fries are perfectly acceptable.
Nope, fuck curly fries. I'm not a fan. The
weird
interesting.
Orange
really? Curly fry? Yeah, not my jam.
Fast. I'm learning all sorts of things today.
I don't care for the whatever seasoning, like, because every curly fry is like orange with whatever seasoning they put on them. Not a fan.
Interesting. Okay, it's not just Arby's; it's just curly fries in general.
In general, right? I think if you maybe just gave me an unseasoned or just salted curly fry, I might be on board. But it's something.
Those are rare. They're usually always seasoned. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not my jam. I also, though, I'm a big fry person. I like a big fat fry that's soft in the middle, rather than like a shoestring thin and crispy fry.
I'm not with you. I can't go on that journey with you.
Like I'll fuck up 9 potatoes worth of potato wedges if you give me a shot.
Oh yeah, Or like big fat steak fries, I just can't do it.
Yeah, baby, give me that shit. Millhouse has eaten all the food, or apparently has. They wake up, the cooler's empty, and Millhouse is surrounded by, chip bags and candy wrappers. Meanwhile, we go back to Springfield, and comic book guy is dealing with a very 1998 problem of slowly loading pornographic images.
Yeah.
The struggle was very real once upon a time.
Yeah. He's just there, frustrated, dick in hand, as just 1 centimeter of image shows up at a time. It's like, oh my God, we're just at the shins.
back when images used to load the way printers used to print, just one line at a time.
Back then, everyone just had desktops. You went into any house, and you knew where you're walking to use the restroom. You see the kid's bedroom where they have that's where the desktop is. It's like thinking like, the dad in this house has blasted 500 nuts in front of that fucking desktop. Like, that's so gross to think of. Like, everything has had cum on it. It's been cleaned, but fucking blasting's not a victimless crime. There is usually some remnants left over. Maybe it's not a whole lot, but it's somewhere.
Oh, that's our second T-shirt. Everything has cum on it.
Oh man, it's so gross to think of. Like, cummy thumb and fingerprints all over everything in that crime scene. Like, that dad has been hunched over knowing that the clock's ticking, that mom's bringing the kids back from the grocery store quick, and he's got to try rail one out to Jenna Jameson. Ugh.
I was under the impression that every at least Midwestern family, the computer had its own room, and it was never called an office. It was called the computer room.
Oh, it sounds like they're really Hollywooded it up around the Carson, North Dakota area. So you guys went from Little House on the Prairie, scorched earth, to like... Did the price on rocks go way up?
there was one bountiful tumbleweed year, and everyone got computers.
The 97 tumbleweed harvest was especially fruitful. So we went from living in lean-tos to having houses with computer rooms in it.
Yeah, we all got 850-pound Dell computers in the mail.
That cost $4,000.
Yeah. If you were really hoity-toity, you got a Gateway because you like the cow print on the box.
Yeah. Fuck, I forgot about that.
So, comic book guy goes to Homer to see if he can upgrade his internet access. And Homer has established this company but doesn't do anything. Like, it's a fake internet company. He thinks just by setting some pencils on the table that now it's an office and now it's a business, and that's not how it works. Back on the island, Milhouse is on trial. I like this little island trial that we have here, mostly just because Nelson is the prosecutor, and when it's his turn to question Milhouse, he just grabs him through the bamboo bars of his cage and starts punching the shit out of Milhouse. That's his line of questioning. Eventually, the Simpson kids, Bart and Lisa, acquit Milhouse, and that makes the rest of the kids on the island, much like their parents, mob up pretty quick. And now we're chasing the Simpsons across the island. Nelson takes a moment to get some ash or blueberry juice and give himself war paint. Again, being a huge Lord of the Flies fan, I was very into all this. Back in Springfield, Bill Gates shows up at Homer's house and is gonna buy him out, and Homer's like, awesome, I'm gonna be rich. But really, Bill Gates just has his goons wreck all of Homer's stuff.
Yeah.
The real shoddy, weak B story with the Homer internet thing.
Almost unnecessary.
Made me wonder, like, wouldn't this be better served as its own episode? Because you could just focus on this. Because there's jokes to be made, for sure. But, I get into this later in these episodes, too. Like, it's not even that the jokes aren't landing. There's just poor, like, foundational writing now that, like... This is a weird episode because on the one hand, the B story of Homer's internet company isn't... They don't do anything with it, and the A story of the kids on the island is so fantastical that it among the other episodes sticks out like a sore thumb. So it is a weird one, but I didn't hate it. Again, I think the Lord of the Flies love really it gets a lot of points from me for this. So I love that the next time we see the kids back on the island, most of them have some manner of war paint on, and Ralphie is wearing the Peter Criss makeup. And says meow at some point. Like, he's got the whiskers and the eyes. He's in Peter Criss makeup, which I really liked. The kids stumble upon a boar, and the boar has a chip wrapper or a chip bag on one of his tusks. So it turns out the boar ate the food, not Milhouse. And there's a moment where Lisa's like, well, if the boar survived, that means we can too. And they see the boar licking slime off a rock, and she's like, see, that's what he eats. We can just eat that and we'll be fine. And there's a pause for a second, and then it smash cuts to the boar on a spit over a fire, and the kids are eating the boar while Lisa's licking slime off a rock.
Yeah,
and then
so that was a good visual gag.
And then in like top 5, just fucking get to the credits ending, the voice of James Earl Jones says, and then the kids were eventually rescued by, let's say, Mo. And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that was a strange ending. And making a joke that you don't give a fuck is one thing, but not giving a fuck is not the same as that.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a weird punch-out ending to this episode.
It's just things are starting to seem like rushed. Like, I don't get.
Yeah, that was a weird ending, but a weird ending to an episode that I liked. So,
and I did enjoy the. Like the island, like that premise. I mean, yeah, like, because like the fantastical stuff doesn't bug me as much if it could be funny. I don't think it was as bad as the last episode. I just didn't think it was that funny. Which that's unfortunately. Let's see if we could turn it around with our next episode, The Last Temptation of Crust.
An episode about comedy. So ostensibly,
yeah, you would think. And it's interesting that it took us this long to get to like a stand-up centric episode.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Once we got rolling into this one, I was like,
to the point I had to like,
longer than I thought.
Did we have one of these before, but not really? Like, the premise is that there's going to be some kind of like comedy fest to raise money in town.
For soil erosion, which I really laughed at.
Yep. And they see a flyer for it. So I think they're in the mall, and they see a flyer for it. Does that sound right?
Yep, they're buying the kids church shoes.
That's what it is. Which, we
see Gil, the salesman, is now selling shoes.
Yep, he couldn't make it in real estate. Now he's selling shoes. I did like the gag where Lisa isn't wearing socks. So like, that's no problem. You can wear the store sock, which he's holding with a pair of tongs.
Yeah, because he doesn't want it's filthy.
Yeah.
I love that. Like Gil brings some shoes over to Bart and like leans down to tie them, and he goes, kid, you think you could lace them up? I got a bad back problem. And Bart just goes, if you don't want to lace shoes, you shouldn't be a shoe salesman. And Gil just grits his teeth and drops to one knee with all these horrible pretzel breaking back sounds.
Poor Gil.
It's like, you little asshole.
Yeah.
I used to and still do hate shoe shopping.
Yeah.
It's the worst kind of shopping. Is fucking shoe shopping.
I have it noted here. When was the last time do you still buy shoes in person?
Absolutely not.
Yep.
I buy shoes online.
You know with shoes, it's a fucking crapshoot. They're gonna fit. I don't care. I'll take the risk just so I don't have to go to a shoe store.
Yeah, I would rather they not fit and I have to return them than go to a shoe store and put on shoes.
I bet I've bought shoes in a store once in the last decade to 15 years. And looking back, it was actually a decent experience, but I think I was scarred by other shoe shopping. Like as a kid, I hated it.
I also have I have trouble finding shoes that fit because I have incredibly wide fucking Sasquatch feet.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to just type your size into.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to say 10.5 quadruple E and hit enter and go to find a pair of shoes.
You know what, Marlin? I bet that's almost what my shoe size is too. Except I often just get 11s, just like, fuck it. I can't find the wide and what I want, so I'll just have a little bit extra toe room to get that extra width.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
Yep.
I will occasionally buy shoes and be like, these are too narrow, but they're close enough.
I'll make it work, yeah.
Yeah, and it works. I have the best of luck with that with canvas shoes like Vans. I like high top Vans, and those are canvas shoes, you know. So like you can bulge out the sides a little and be okay. But then I once caught how my foot looks in the mirror, and so you have the sole of the shoe and then my foot on top of it, which is wider than the sole, and it looks ridiculous. I have like foot muffin top just pouring over the sides of my shoe, and it's a bad look, but I'll still rock some Vans once in a while.
I bet there is a small but very fiercely loyal contingent that would follow that account on OnlyFans. Like, oh, can I squeeze into these 7 narrows? Oh, well, we'll see tonight at 11 p.m. for my Patreon members.
Oh, God. I went in drag for Halloween one year, several years ago, and I crammed my 10.5 4E foot into a size 7 women's platform heels, and I don't think I've ever been more miserable.
Oh, man. I bet it was one of those things you realized way too early on how awful it's going to be, too. Like,
yeah, so
fuck.
I just dreaded it the whole time. I was like,
God damn it, this is going to suck. I wore cowboy boots to our company Christmas party one year just because I knew everyone would get a laugh out of it. And 30 minutes into a 6-hour party, I realized this was a mistake. This is not worth. Hey, look at that! You know, the couple of those that I got. Like, no, this is dumb. Jesus, my feet were fucking barking after that.
I grew up wearing cowboy boots, and I did all through college also. I like a cowboy boot because there's something to be said about the heel. Having your heel up in the air a little bit, for me anyway, is very comfortable.
Oh, man. I think it's one of those you have to get accustomed again to. Because I used to wear work boots when I worked like outside jobs. So and it would take me a while, but then I get used to that. But I haven't wore boots in so long.
It's always a struggle. For me, cowboy boots don't often work, or boots in general, because it's hard when you're putting a boot on, you have to, especially like cowboy boots, because they're so high-topped, like they're so tall, like it's hard for me to make that corner when your foot is supposed to go from pointing downward to pointing forward. It's tough to make that turn sometimes.
Yeah, we got them Dakota Thicky ankles.
Between my snowshoe shaped feet and my fucking and my giant calves.
Well, one thing I did not know, but with high tops now, it's not off. With some brands, the tongue isn't just completely separate from the rest of the shoe and tightened with laces. They're sewn in. So there are lots of high tops I just cannot wear because I can't do it. I can't fucking shoehorn my feet into them.
Literally shoehorn.
Yeah.
I did appreciate though that because I remember this as a kid. The kids get their new shoes on and they're like, these are at least 2 sizes too big. They look ridiculous. They look like clown shoes. Yeah. And Marge is just like, perfect. You'll grow into them. Yep. And that was definitely the shoe buying philosophy when I was a kid.
Yep. Having your mom pinch the toes to see how much room there is left before your toes. Like, oh, well, we got 18 months of shoe wearing here. Let's go.
Yeah, you're fine. And I can't even argue with that practice because it's like if you were buying shoes that fit me in like 8th grade, like you were going to buy new shoes every 4 weeks probably.
It's weird to remember being at an age where you were growing or getting bigger,
right.
But I mean, getting fatter, that's another thing.
I'm familiar with getting bigger, but like growing, that's
so weird.
That's a weird thought.
Like the fact I could be taller next year sounds so weird. So this Bart notices the lineup for this comedy festival, and he is shocked that Krusty the Clown isn't on it. And we get our first Jay Leno appearance because Jay Leno is the headliner of this comedy festival.
Yeah, and that comedy list, that lineup is the most 1998 ass lineup of comedians.
So we have Jay Leno, Janine Garofalo, Bobcat Goldthwait, which I enjoy seeing him make an appearance.
Yep.
Stephen Wright. And then who's like the other, like the fifth guy with the big bushy mustache?
Bruce Baum.
See, I'm not really familiar with him at all.
Yeah, he's definitely the one I am the least familiar with of those five.
Yeah. So they get, and Jay Leno does remember Krusty from his, because Krusty's been around for decades apparently. So Krusty gets on the list. He's got to, get his material ready, and he goes out and does a set that is wildly inappropriate. A lot of very thoughtless Asian stereotypes.
Ooh, that was real rough to watch.
The crowd at that festival is not into it, except Bart. Bart's eating it all up. He's big. He's a big Krusty guy. And Krusty kind of falls into a funk when he realizes that he is not good at comedy. He's a hack doing old garbage material.
Doing old material. Yep. He's past his prime. He should have been writing new jokes this whole time.
And he instead of looking in the mirror and realizing he needs to work on new material, he just goes on a days-long bender.
Yep.
and there's a great scene where Bart notices Rod and Todd poking a passed-out Krusty in their yard with a stick. So Bart enlists the help of Jay Leno to help Krusty get cleaned up. And then also that's kind of when Krusty comes to the realization by looking around Bart's bedroom that all it is he's a Krusty merchandise, and he realizes he's spent the last several years just selling out instead of being funny.
Sold out, man.
Yeah. There is I made a note here too, like, man, how much longer until Disney Plus takes this episode off the lineup? Because you get the wrong TikToker to see that Asian stereotype. Like, oh boy,
might pull that one down.
Yeah, one visual gag too is I like that Krusty, since he was on a bender, he just showed the Krusty of the Clown Show. So they just have Kent Brockman with like a crudely applied wig and fake nose,
and introduces himself as Kent Brockman the Clown. Yeah. In news voice, like isn't even trying to be a clown about it.
Yeah.
I love the visual of Bart and Jay Leno giving Krusty a bath.
Yep. Trying to get the knots out of his ridiculous clown hair.
Yeah, Jay Leno being like, sit still, I'm trying to get these tangles out.
Yeah.
God, it's so fucking good.
Yeah, and so Krusty, thanks to the help of Bart and Jay Leno, does kind of start to work on new material, kind of accidentally, because he kind of goes on a rant on stage and the crowd eats it up. And now he's this no-holds-barred, straight-talking George Carlin-esque character. He smokes on stage, he has his hair in a ponytail, and people are eating it up. He is full of gripes, and he's going to let the world know. And he's very 90s pretentious, like, I'm an artist, man. I don't need any kind of I don't need any best sponsors. My truth is my sponsor, that kind of shit. And
every joke is sticking it to the man somehow.
Yeah,
and
a lot of
fat cats.
Social criticism, hot takes, and he becomes popular again. And then so popular that he gets an offer from an ad agency to sponsor. And oh, man, did my heart sing when I saw what it was. They want him to sponsor the new Canyonero, the new sports utility vehicle that's sweeping the nation. And
such a great fake SUV name.
And I thought about it. That makes sense because the late 90s was kind of when SUVs took off.
Yeah.
Because when you were a kid, especially me, when I was a kid in the 80s, nobody's mom drove an SUV.
Absolutely not.
You drove a car or a van. That was your two choices.
Or a pickup.
Yeah. And usually the dad had a pickup. I just always remember most families, the mom had a car to lug everyone around.
Yeah, sure, that's true. Or a station wagon or something family-sized, but not an SUV, for sure.
Maybe there was a couple families that had Suburbans, but that was rare.
Yeah, there were a handful of Suburbans back home, a couple of Blazers, but for the most part...
And the thing with Blazers back then, if you get back to the 80s, they were two-door, so they weren't real...
Oh, sure, like a Bronco.
Yeah, they weren't really convenient for kids hopping in and out of either, like... But yeah, around this time, though, we're starting to get the Ford Explorer, we're getting Chevy Tahoes. It's like probably Dodge Durangos. They were really getting to be a big part of the automobile landscape. And
you ever been an SUV man?
Oh, man. I've never owned one. Nope, I've only owned cars.
Oh.
Mostly it's the cheapest thing. You get more money, your money goes farther with a car.
Yeah, and with gas mileage
and shit. Exactly, yeah. If I had fuck you money, I would have a pristine 87 Chevy Blazer full size. I fucking love the looks of them.
That's super specific.
Yep. And it's probably anywhere from like mid 80s to 87, 88. I just love that. I love those Chevy pickups of that era too.
I've mostly been an SUV man. Like, I have a car now, but it's the only car for the most part that I've driven for any extended period of time.
Yeah. If we're still doing lots of road work once the Roro's done, I need to eventually invest in something with all-wheel drive because, man, we have danced with the devil on too many of these winter comedy trips. It's shocking how lucky we've been with the weather we ran into.
Yeah, I had a few too many white knucklers on the way to tell jokes to 4 dozen people.
3 dozen of which do not want to hear them.
3 dozen of which don't know there's comedy in the bar that night.
The shame of it is, too, this is one of the mildest winters we've ever had. And, of course, this is a winter we're not driving across.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Thanks. Cruel fates.
You couldn't have asked for a better winter for driving in them. Yeah. Corona.
Oh, we'll be back telling chuckles for pickled eggs before you know it.
So Krusty has a crisis on his hands. What does he do? Does he take the money or does he listen to his heart? And we think originally he is going to listen to his heart. But then Krusty, in true Krusty fashion, starts speaking the praises of the Canyonero, which, God love it, Krusty. You are true to yourself. You're a fucking shill.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what it's all about. And that fucking Canyonero theme song, I wonder if that's... I don't think it's Hank Williams Jr., but that's what they're going for, and it's so good.
That is 100% Hank Williams Jr.
Is it really? Okay, it is. Yeah, and if you let it play, because the credits, they play the full Canyonero theme song. My favorite line of what's a brilliant song is, top of the line in utility sports, unexplained fires are a matter for the courts, Canyonero. And I did a little Googling. You can make a Canyonero for yourself with... they make the badging and stuff, so you can I think a Jeep Wagoneer from the mid 80s is probably your closest match. Some people have done the Lord's work remaking the Canyonero, so
I would just buy the badges and put it on whatever.
Yeah, but if you paint a mid 80s Wagoneer red and add 2 extra lights to the front of it, it is a Canyonero, and it's
pretty spot
wonderful.
on.
Yep.
Awesome.
Has the right body lines and everything.
That commercial goes on too long, and I love it. I love that it goes to the credits and then it pushes it off the screen and the commercial keeps going.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. See, I will say this episode, it's better. This is better than the last 2. I was engaged. It wasn't knock you down funny, but there were some good moments, and I just enjoyed the stand-up aspect of it.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it is it's a episode about stand-up. Of course we like that one. I love that before Krusty goes on, they're showing everyone else's set, and god damn it, do I love a Stephen Wright joke, man. When he's like, I read the dictionary from beginning to end. Turns out the zebra did it. Fucking A, do I love Stephen Wright. Holy shit.
Was it you that pointed out that Stephen Wright has only done 2 specials in the last 30 years, or 30, 40 years?
Oh, it wasn't me, but I'd believe that.
Yeah, I never knew that he wasn't just cranking shit out, but I guess it's not like you hear his name a lot, you know, like.
Yeah, he's someone who I think he's one of those where I'm like, you are not as famous as you should be because you're amazing.
It's one of those guys. It's like, you know, he takes his time. You know, if he doesn't have the good material, he doesn't go out. You know, he ain't a road dog. And, you know, we can't all be road dogs. We need some guys that are more the artists. You know, like they listen to their muse.
Not all of us can do it for drinks.
Yeah.
I love viewing, because we see a bit of Janeane Garofalo's set as well, and I love, like, viewing it through the lens of today's comedy, because she starts one of her jokes with, "So I got my period the other day," and Marge, like, spits out her drink and is appalled, and that cracks me up that in 1998, that would have gotten that reaction from someone like Marge, and frankly, it probably would have, and I think that is really fucking funny.
Yeah. I wonder if Janeane Garofalo, does she tour much anymore?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I mean, with the Row, I don't think anyone tours much, but outside of that, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I've saw one of her specials way back in the day, and I did dig it. I think she's pretty funny.
Yeah, I've seen one of her older ones and thought it was funny. I tragically mostly remember her from Mystery Men, which is not a good movie.
I more fondly remember her from Wet Hot American Summer, if we talk about her acting roles.
Oh, okay, I've never seen that. I keep hearing that it's so good.
We get a little bit of Bobcat Goldthwait, who I enjoy. I think he's a gem.
Yep, I like Bobcat.
Who would have thought the guy that is like the weirdo in Police Academy would go on to be relevant 35 years later? Like, is a very good movie maker. Like, he's made a lot of
hell of a film director.
Yeah, like
has also directed quite a few stand-up specials.
Yep,
and is really good at that.
Yeah,
I really love. I remember finding out about Bobcat. I had never seen any of the Police Academies when I stumbled across his album. I think it's called "I Don't Mean to Insult You, But You Remind Me of Bobcat Goldthwait."
That's such a
That's
great
a good
album
record.
Title.
Yeah. I like him. He's a good storyteller, and his movies are rad.
Yeah, have you seen his first movie called Sleeping Dogs Lie?
No.
Bro, it is like a romantic drama where the premise is a young 20-something woman admits to her fiance that she blew the family dog when she was home for spring break when she was in college.
Jesus
and
Christ.
It's not a comedy. It's not like going for gross out laughs. It is what would happen if you admitted that, and like the fallout and like her own turmoil with admitting to it and shit. Like, it's fucking it's played even keel. It's a very good movie too. Like, with just an insane premise.
I really like both World's Greatest Dad and God Bless America.
Yeah, they're both
are both classics.
Yeah, he made a horror movie probably like 5-7 years ago called Willow Creek that I've always wanted to see.
Oh, I should write that one down for October. Episode 17 is Dumbbell Indemnity. Already into the wordplay. I like good pun work, everybody. Congratulations. Butt pats all around. Good game.
Good job,
good game.
Simpsons writers.
All right. Hit the showers, boys. I like that it starts off with the kids having a fucking ice cream fight in the living room, which I can't imagine a worse thing as a parent to come walking into.
Is it a Texas ice cream fight?
Is there a specificity to a
I think
Texas
that's what
ice
Bart
cream
refers
fight?
to it as.
Oh,
no, it's
okay.
a Texas snowball fight is what they call it. Texas snowball fight is flinging scoops of ice cream at each other. Yeah, that's mom getting something to hit you with. Like, the open hand isn't enough. She needs an implement.
Yeah, there's
to let you know how angry she is.
There is mom justice coming after a Texas snowball fight.
Oof, yeah.
Homer instructs the kids to go up and take baths, but they can't because the water heater's broken. Homer goes down to fix it, which just involves him putting on a welder's mask and beating the shit out of the water heater with a pipe wrench, and it just breaks and floods the whole house.
Yeah. Which Marge gets to come home to.
Yeah, she comes home to water pouring out of the upper, like the second floor windows, and Homer meets her at the door and is like, well, I'm off to Moe's, bye, and runs away. Like, just leaves her to deal with that, leaves Marge holding the bag. So Homer's down at Moe's, hiding from Marge, and Moe's got the blues. Moe's got a case of the lonelies, and Homer talks him into going out there and trying to meet some people. So we get Moe at Disco Stews, and something about whenever Moe gets dressed up, like that specific tuxedo he always wears is real good. It's perfect for Moe, but it's like, boy, who would fucking wear that, man? What are you doing? This like lavender tuxedo cracks me up every time we get to see it. Strikes out pretty hard at the disco. Does not close.
The Bacardi rum salesman was not interested in his advances. When she puts that drink more rum sticker on his head.
Yep, pretty good. We could probably get stickers made for pretty cheap. I think drink more rum is a good one.
Yeah.
So they leave the disco, and Moe meets Renee, who's a woman selling flowers from a flower stand, which I didn't know was a real thing, but it is in Springfield. He says something about, no gorgeous woman gives you a flower for free. And she's like, oh, you think I'm gorgeous? And he goes, well, the parts I can see of you anyway. You could have a lot of scars or a fake ass or something. It's like, Jesus, Moe.
Dude, is there still an industry? I mean, probably not during COVID, but like, is there still women that just walk through the bar selling flowers? Remember that?
I bet so. I don't, like you said, probably not during COVID times, but up until COVID, there surely was.
That had to have made money, because why would you keep doing it?
Yeah.
Who was buying these flowers?
I have no idea. It had to be just drunk people who are like, I doubt it was ever used to close anything, but I'm sure it was like, hey, we're out at the bar, here's $2, here's a flower. It's got to be just an impulse why not purchase, right?
Yeah, I just don't. And they got to do enough of them to justify staying up till 2 a.m. driving to bar and putting up with drunk people. So I'd like to have that could be a Patreon. We have a sit down talk with a proprietor of a late night bar rose selling operation.
Yeah, I always thought the rose selling was weird. But whenever the person with the platter full of shots comes by, I'm usually game. So one works on me.
My cheapness is so ingrained into my DNA that for me to get drunk enough to buy from the shot girl, I've already passed out. They're committing a crime because I am not coherent. They shouldn't be taking my money.
No, if somebody comes by with a tray full of fruity test tubes, I'm probably having one.
No, and God bless you. I always like, oh, what's this? Because you never know what it is. Like,
right, and it doesn't matter what it is. It's just gonna taste like fruity chemical because that's all any of those shots ever are. So. Yeah,
because I always, if I'm buying shots, I'm getting sad divorced dad shots. Like, shocking, I was single as long as. I remember doing that at a company Christmas party. It was my time to buy a round of shots. Like, hell yeah, let's do it up. We're getting Yukon Jack, not realizing that it wasn't a bunch of sad 40-year-old men. It was like 22-year-old young women, and they all spit it out like it was the poison that it really is. Like, it just everyone looks sad for like the next 45 minutes. Like, so there's all these shot glasses, 3/4 full, sitting on the table.
Yeah, like a shot of Yukon Jack is not a celebratory shot. Yeah. Like, let's do a shot. Like, that's when you get a Jaeger bomb or a Ninja Turtle or something like that, or even just some Patron. Like, those are party shots.
And since then, when it's my time to buy one of them, I just ask the bartender, like, give me something that happy people drink. And that's like, and a good bartender knows what that means. Okay, Here you go.
Give me something fruity. I don't care. Just Something bright colors, something that doesn't make me look like a sad uncle.
Yeah, so something that people that smile would order.
If I were a 23-year-old hot girl, what would you give me? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I want.
Man, yeah, you want a Saturday you literally won't be able to remember? Get started on the Yukon Jack at about 2 p.m. Oof.
Oh, bruh. Your whiskey choices have always baffled me.
Yeah, that was more of a 20s and early 30s. Like, how fast can I get drunk? That was the first lethal thing we ever got our hands on as kids, like 100 proof or more. So it has like a nostalgia. As I've gotten older, I've realized, 80 proof is fine. I've never been drinking straight whiskey and thought, oh, if only this could get me drunk faster.
If only this was closer to gasoline,
Yeah.
then maybe I'd be enjoying myself more.
Yeah.
Oh. So Mo starts dating Renee. We get a montage of them having all sorts of fun dates. And it comes time for, Mo's back at the bar, and it's been some time, him and Renee going out and having fun. And he's ordering flowers for her over the phone and tries to pay with his credit card, but he can't.
I got to interrupt. He's using a Players Club card.
Now so the Players Club, is that the same Players Club as the Lenny Dykstra's Players Club?
I have no idea. Like, was that ever? I can't tell if that's a joke on like a credit card that existed. That's like passe. Because you may be too young. When I was a little kid, they used to advertise on TV for a credit card called the Diners Club card. And it was, I don't know why you would go for that over a basic credit card, but like, I always remember being like, it'd be like 3:30 p.m. It's like in between Transformers and G.I. Joes. There'd be a man in a tuxedo in a smoky room. Hello, do you enjoy fine dining? It's like, no, I'm 6. I enjoy when my mom cuts up the hot dogs for me and mixes it in the macaroni and cheese. Well, if you do enjoy fine dining, get the Players Club. It's like, what? Who's choosing when you advertise? Like, this should be at nighttime.
Oh, man.
It's so many Diners Club card commercials. Like,
I'm betting that this then is a take on that. I had to look up quickly. Lenny Dykstra, the baseball player, had a magazine called The Players Club that was a magazine designed for rich and famous athletes, and it only lasted like 8 issues, and then Lenny Dykstra went on to have a whole bunch of shit go on.
He's troubled.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go with troubled.
Yeah.
But that he didn't establish that magazine for a long time past this, so definitely something different. But in my head, I was watching this going, does Mo subscribe to Lenny Dykstra's Players Club? Because that
I can't believe you knew of that magazine.
I only know of it because there's a great episode of The Dollop, which is a fantastic American history podcast that I think I've mentioned on here before, hosted by Dave Anthony and Gareth Reynolds, these 2 comedians, and they have a whole episode on the life of Lenny Dykstra that is it's a ride. It's a whole thing.
I loved that 93 Phillies team that he was on that made it to the World Series. They were just like, it was basically like the movie Major League was a documentary. It's just this collection of young and old misfits and cast-offs that put it all together and almost had a miracle season. They lost to the Blue Jays, but almost.
So close. I believe Lenny Dykstra won a World Series in the game that Bill Buckner's famous botch.
Oh, was he a young
Mets?
player on that Mets team?
Yeah, he was drafted by the Mets.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I believe that ended up being his only World Series win. Welcome to the Lenny Dykstra podcast.
Yes, we're going to dive into some 7-part Lenny Dykstra retrospective. Next episode is ages 4 through 7.
So buckle in. It's going to be a doozy. But yes, he was on that team. And so this Players Club card, I think, is not a real thing, but maybe a swerve on the Diners Club.
Oh, okay. But real or fake, it is out of money, and Mo is desperate.
Yep, he's because he at least thinks to himself, and maybe he's right, that's up for debate, is if I can't be taking her to do nice things, she's gone, because look at me. Mo has some real self-esteem issues throughout the entire show, but they're very highlighted in this episode in particular. So the plan he comes up with to get some money is he's gonna have Homer help insurance fraud his car by having Homer steal the car and wreck it, and then Mo can get insurance money for it. And Homer congratulates him on his plan by being like, "Good job, you have figured out how to," what does he say? Suspend your problem for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Because this is obviously very short-sighted.
Yeah.
So the plan is Mo is going to go to the police cruise. They have a police yacht that they're having a party on, and Mo and Renee are going to go to that. So Mo has a solid alibi, and then while they're on the cruise, Homer's going to steal the car, park it on the tracks, and the 10:15 train is going to destroy the car. They're never going to find out who stole it, and Mo's going to get his insurance money. So Mo's on the police cruise with Renee. Homer steals the car, but on his way to the railroad crossing, gets distracted because the local drive-in is showing Hail to the Chimp, a movie where a chimpanzee is the president. We get some clips of that are pretty funny. Homer falls asleep in the car during the drive-in and misses the train. Train goes by, so that plan is out the window. So Homer drives to the top of a hill right by the ocean, which, wouldn't you know, that's right where the police yacht is cruising by just then. And he's gonna drive the car into the ocean is his grand plan. And he starts down the hill, and there's a great Looney Tunes bit here where he is driving down the hill, opens the door, bails out, goes rolling, ramps off of a rock, and lands back in the car. Which I thought was
great.
Some real dumb fun. That reminded me of him jumping the gorge on the skateboard, and then the Looney Tunes wackiness of him falling down all the way down the canyon.
Yeah, once he gets loaded up onto the gurney.
Yeah, I thought that was a good bit. And then he goes over the side of the cliff with the car and is down at the bottom of the ocean and gets loose and pops up just in time for the cops to be staring at him with their guns out. They watched all this happen. So Homer is arrested and thrown into jail after driving the car into the ocean in full view of the police. And now Mo has a choice that he has to make. Renee wants to take a Hawaiian vacation, but Mo also should bail out Homer from jail because it's the right thing to do. And so Mo is sweating, struggling on which he should do. It looks like he chooses to go to Hawaii with Renee. But he's, racked with guilt about leaving Homer to rot away in jail. We see Ghost Homer at the bar, even though he's not dead, which I thought was funny. Like a translucent blue Star Wars Force ghost. Mo, racked with guilt, comes clean to Renee about the whole thing, and Renee is not into that. So Renee takes off. And Homer, in the meantime, in jail, Hans Moleman is the jailhouse librarian, and he comes by with his book cart and asks if Homer wants to read anything. Homer knocks out Hans Moleman with a book and escapes on the little book cart and rides it all the way to Moe's because Homer has revenge on his mind. Mo is setting the bar on fire in the meantime, and so he pours brandy all over the place, sets it on fire, and that's when Homer gets there. We get a bit of a fight between those two, and then they both kind of just collapse on the floor thanks to smoke inhalation, just in time for Barney to emerge from the bathroom and save the day. I like that he kicks the door open, and you see the silhouette of Barney holding what appears to be a body over each shoulder, but when he steps out onto the sidewalk, it's 2 kegs, and then he goes back for Moe and Homer, and also a couple more cases of beer. And so he saves those 2, and then we go to the Simpson house, where they have turned the Simpsons kitchen into the new Moe's, and Marge is not into it, but there's people parking on the lawn and shit, and it just kind of fades out of that, of like, this is where Moe's is now, is at the Simpsons, and Marge doesn't care for it anyway. End theme song.
Yeah. One thing that drove me up the wall, when Homer's in jail and they visit him, the family visits him, Bart gives him a carton of smokes to use as like currency in jail.
Yeah.
Why the fuck aren't they Laramies? I think they just say cigarettes. That's so lazy.
Have we abandoned or forgotten about Laramie cigarettes?
Man, and I don't think this episode was as bad quality-wise or laugh-wise, but there's just some shit writing. I'll throw a couple of these at you. The scene where Homer gets out of jail to kill Moe, that just didn't. I mean, again, this isn't a drama, so the characters, their intentions don't have to make sense. But Homer is in jail all the time. He's always doing stupid shit and getting in trouble. Why does he want to kill Moe over this? It didn't fit for me.
He saw Moe leaving the travel agency with Renee, looking like they were going to go on vacation, which is what sets him on tilt.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a little much, but hey. But the main one, the one that really sparked me to write this, is when when Moe pitches the idea of, hey, Homer, do me a favor, steal my car for insurance purposes. He's like, oh, I know what Homer or what Marge would say about this. And then the thought bubble pops up, and Marge's like, do it, steal his car for the insurance money. He doesn't even react to that. The joke would be like, huh? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I guess I can do it. It's just lazy writing that's doesn't make sense. And that
I can see that. They kind of just framed Marge.
Yeah.
The joke is that Homer is not thinking at all of what Marge would say.
Exactly.
But it could have used a punchline, from Homer.
Yeah. It's just oof.
I think this was my least favorite of the episodes, and I think I don't really care for Moe as just in general.
Oh, see, I enjoy the occasional Moe episode. I enjoy a lot of the characters that don't often get their own episodes, but I can.
He's no Ralphie, and he's no Mr. Burns. Mm-hmm. But I think I don't. I think I just don't.
I'd
love
maybe
Moe.
Put this just a pinch above the first 2 that we watched this week. But it's not as good as the last one. It's
the Comedy Fest one.
Yeah, I think I got a few more laughs, but I will say, I hate to put this before we get into it, I think the strongest episode of the bunch is our next episode.
I don't have to tell you, Nathan, that I fully agree with you.
Yep,
which should not be a surprise.
This little wiggy, this one.
Holy fuck.
This one has reaffirmed my faith that, hey, we might still get the occasional banger. And this, I don't know if it's quite to the level of peak Simpsons awesomeness, but man, it's right there.
It's a fucking hot one.
So it starts off with, they're at some kind of they have that robot come and talk to them. And they're imagining the different kinds of space things that they could do. One of them's imagine yourself touching a star. And Milhouse imagines himself in space touching a star or the sun, and his arm just disintegrates.
Yep.
And he's cool.
Yeah, he's not dismayed by it. He's yeah, that's the stuff.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And oh man,
the Knowledgeum, that place is called.
Oh, that's what it is. Where there's the Velcro on the ceiling and the rubber on the ground and
all these scientific booths and exhibits.
And that's when Marge notices, poor Ralphie is not a normal boy. He's a lower. When he's just barking like a dog. And Chief Wiggum's just what he does.
Yep, he's just playing Wonder Puppy or whatever whatever his version of that is.
Oh, it's just great that Marge, who has known Ralphie for minutes, is way more concerned about his upbringing than the father is.
Yeah, Wiggum's just like, yeah, he's great.
That's our Ralphie.
That's my boy. Holy shit. And Marge is legit concerned, like pressed lips, concerned about Ralphie.
Yeah, so Marge, without even informing Bart, sets up a play date for little Ralphie and Bart. And there's a great scene where Ralphie's at the door and like Bart's like, oh hey Ralph, he's like, hi, I'm here to play with you, and he just, it dawns on him what's up. He goes, someone will be right with you. Shuts the door like it's a call center, and like he has to put him on hold.
Yeah.
And the scene, and then he's like, Mom, what are you doing? And Marge is she's a mom and she's thinking about the best, but she like perfectly encapsulates like mom's not understanding what being a kid is like. And Bart's like, hey Mom, you don't understand the social order of popularity in today's grade schools. And that is spot on. I have a buddy that talks about like being like 16, and his mom is like, why don't you ask Susie out? She's so sweet, she's so cute. And he's like, how do you explain to your mom that you're not even close to being on the right fucking social stratosphere to ask out Susie? Mom,
right,
she would be sad because she would have to think of an answer on, and my friends would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, how did you know what I mean though? Like, like if one of my buddies would have asked out the most pop, it's like, fucking go home, man. You're not feeling well. Like, don't bother her.
Yeah. Or it going the other way like it does with Bart, where it's like, you should hang out with insert name of horribly unpopular or gross kid here. You know, like, I can't be seen.
Yeah, that's a shitty
him?
thing, but it's true. Like, because like, I would sometimes feel bad for the kids that were getting their balls busted 24/7. So I'd extend a little bit of decency. And for those poor kids, a little bit of decency is a fucking life preserver. Like, holy shit, there's someone not being an asshole to me today. So they want to be your friends. Like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
I was always the first person to like go talk to the new kid and shit like that. So I was always diplomatic and everything. But there were kids that you just didn't run in the same social circles, so it didn't make sense for the two of you to hang out.
Yeah. Oh, God. School is fucking unspeakably cruel. Like, it's amazing anyone turns out to be a decent human being. Like,
no kidding.
I just remember like the tension of always being like on point. Like, because at any time someone could pull your fucking pants down. Like, they could just drop kick you. Like, can't you work was like that? Like, if someone, you're in the break room getting coffee and someone just like shakes up a can of fucking Sprite, cracks it open and shoves it down your pants. Like, and everyone just laughs like it's this great thing. Like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't have like horrible bullying. Well, okay. So I feel like we didn't have, how do I put this? We didn't have like constant bullying, but when people were bullied, it was at a 10. Like it was all spikes. There was no low hum of bullying. It was just silence or a 10. Like, I remember, like, especially in elementary school, like, the bullies who would bully this one girl in my class would, like put super glue on her desk chair and ruin a pair of jeans. Like, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, or I remember in probably junior high, you would have to check your fucking locker handle for weeks because they were going around putting fucking thumbtacks on where you grab your locker handle and yank up on it.
Oh,
like,
no shit.
You fucking tetanus. So like there was, but like the good-natured bullying was always like vocal. It was always emotional abuse and never physical abuse.
I just missed out on the golden era of the late golden era of physical bullying, because like the kids that were a year older than me when they were freshmen, like I had buddies that looked like they had like long-term illnesses, but it was just because of the stress. They weren't eating and they just weren't sleeping. They just looked, just like sunken eyes and like it's like, man, like. And then I remember having a class that had a few seniors in it, one of those like mixed grade, like a shop class or something.
Sure.
And being kind of surprised how nice they were to us, or not even nice, just not assholes. And then one freshman kid made a comment about a senior, and he fucking let us know, like, this could all change today if you like watch your He's like, you guys do not understand how fucking good you have it. I'm like, trust me, I do. Like, like I will fucking wash your car or whatever you need. Like, I appreciate what you're doing.
As
or
a
not doing.
As like a freshman, I don't think I would have ever opened my mouth to a senior, just out of fear of like, oh, I'm gonna get fucking pummeled into a puddle here in a moment.
And it changed. Like by the time, like even the grade below me, they would like talk shit to the seniors all the time with just no fear of retribution. Like,
I don't understand that life.
Yeah, man. Like, just like every decision I made from like ages 8 to like 16 was like, will I incur the wrath of old kids? When you're a chubby kid or an unpopular kid, you got to always be thinking about that.
Yeah.
I remember being a seventh grader in study hall, and the teacher like, hey, Nathan, if you're not busy, could you do me a favor, run this note to the office? Like, okay, whatever. And the school was like, empty because it's between classes. And I don't even know where the office is. I was like, oh, shit, it's around here somewhere. I turn a corner to a long hallway, just a corridor of lockers, and 2 seniors are holding this chubby, like, he was like almost their age, like a junior or sophomore. One's holding him up against the locker as the other one is like doing like rabbit punches to his kidneys, and he's just bawling. He's like a 17-year-old bawling. It's like, and they look at me, I look at them, I'm fucking gone. I dropped the note. I just lied to the study hall team. Yep, they got her. They're good.
I didn't see nothing.
Yep. So did you get the note? Yep, sure did. They got the note all right. I don't know what the fuck. I hope that note wasn't anything important, because that note was dropped on the ground.
I vividly remember like the upperclassmen and realizing that they are nothing to be meddled with in my like freshman or sophomore year, when a couple of them, like a couple of big jocks on the football team, big corn-fed motherfuckers, kind of razzing each other, and it clearly got out of hand because they both went sprinting down the hallway as lunch was letting out, and turned the corner, and the one in the lead just laid the hit stick on the librarian who was standing in the hallway minding her own business. Like, and people gathered around like, oh, she's fucking dead. Like, clearly there's been a murder committed. And I remember seeing that happen and be like, you know what? I'm never talking shit to either of those people, because he seemed unbothered by it.
That he destroyed a middle-aged librarian.
Well, she shouldn't have been standing there was his legitimate excuse. Yeah. It's like, all right, you the army really wants to talk to you,
yeah,
pal.
Exactly, yeah. Oh my god. The amount of the casual, like that kid doesn't care at all that they're ruining that kid's life.
Yeah, the what I remember of bullying is mostly elementary bullying, like when you're just cruel to kids your own age for no reason. Like, we see a brief game of keep away later in this episode, and boy was I in the middle of the keep away circle a lot as a kid. I just want my hat back. May as well as like be a collar rocker tattoo.
That was your yearbook quote.
Give it back, guys.
Come on, guys.
Yep. I was in the middle of that circle a lot on the playground.
I think it's funny too to think back. I've noticed this as I've gotten older, when I would be old enough to go home and go to the bar over the holidays and stuff. Like the kids that when I was like a 7th or 8th grader that were like juniors and seniors that just looked like big strapping brutes. Seeing them now and they're 5'9" and their hair's all gone, just weathered cheeks. It's like, fuck, man. Like I used to think you were a goddamn monster.
Yeah. I remember you being a lot taller and
absolutely.
wider.
The other thing is, when you were like a 7th or 8th grader and like a junior or a senior girl, a group of them would be in the lunch line with you, it's like, now there's a woman. Just hubba, hubba. And like now you see high school girls, it's like they just look like someone's taken them out of the oven too soon. There's a weird middle ground of develont. Which I guess that's what you should think when you're a 40-year-old man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to pat myself on the back for not being a pederast.
Congratulations.
I hope there's nobody listening to this and say, hey, agree to disagree, brother. Some guys like their wine vintage, some like the Franzia right out of the bucks.
Oh, well, that's horrifying.
Am I right?
That line ended up on the cutting room floor when they were writing Matthew McConaughey for Dazed and Confused. That one didn't make it into
it used to be a real troubling 8-minute monologue.
Boy, the focus groups don't care for that one. Yeah, nor should they. But you are right. If you're like 10 or 12 years old, a high school senior girl may as well be a supermodel. Totally. Yeah. Oh, she's going to be in magazines for sure.
Yeah. So Bart has to. Marge twists his arm and makes him hang out with Ralph, and which he does not like. Nope. So he's doing his best of like kind of just trying to avoid any public exposure with Ralphie, which that ends up with them just hanging out at the Wiggum's house, which.
To back up a little, when they are in Bart's room, and this is maybe my favorite line of the whole thing, and Ralphie still holding this melting fudgesicle that he's been holding onto this entire time, when he's rooting through Bart's fucking toy box and is like, he goes, oh, your toys are nice to play with. All mine are sticky. As this chocolate fudgesicle just drips down his fucking hand and falls into the toy box. Holy shit. Something about... I don't know why, but like from the door to that scene, him constantly holding this dripping fudgesicle made me laugh the whole time.
And
it's
as
such
a kid,
perfect prop for Ralphie.
It would have made me so sick because I like to keep my shit in nice shape. So having some barbarian that didn't know how to play with my toys so got under my skin. It's like
I could totally see you being the kid of like, don't not like that.
It's like, first off, Skeletor and Merman wouldn't fight. They're on the same side. Merman is a minion of Skeletor. He wouldn't have the balls to attack Skeletor. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah,
that's your old school wrestling fan coming out. You keep kayfabe no matter what.
I should have had a placard in my childhood bedroom that said "Respect the lore."
I'm surprised you weren't putting your different factions of toys in different toolboxes the way wrestlers wouldn't share the same locker room.
Yeah, they all can't go in the same box. I got separate shoe boxes for each. Here's where the Snake Men go. Here's where the Hordak guys go. Here's Skeletor. Another great little gag when they're in the bed. I think it's when they're still in the bedroom. Is when Marge is trying to like impart some kind of life lesson to Bart. And Homer saws through the floor, pokes his head through, looks around, looks up at Marge, like panics and drops down. It's super quick, but that was a nice touch.
Because Bart is like right in the middle of saying like, you don't know what it's like to risk being seen with some idiot. And then Homer on cue pokes his head up through the floor.
And... So now they're at the Wiggum household, and Bart is bored, and Ralphie sucks. But then he's like, your dad's a cop. There has to be something cool in here. And they find like basically a closet full of cool shit. then
Riot gear.
Mace, some batons.
Yeah.
And Ralph, or they're having a good time until they hear Chief Wiggum coming up the stairs. And oh boy, he is struggling to get up those stairs. That man's getting more plump as each day passes.
Yeah, I feel like every season we draw Wiggum a little rounder.
Yeah, now if he's on his back, he is trapped.
Yep, just turtle flailing when he's on his back.
And he discovers that they are in the forbidden closet, but his anger soon turns to joy as he realizes Ralphie's got a little pal. He's, by all means, he hands him some riot helmets and some batons.
There you go, kids. Go nuts.
They have fun with a little while, but that's when Bart notices that the key on the kind of on the knob on the edge of the bed, it's just like basically a magic skeleton key for every building in Springfield.
The cop master key.
Yep. Bart needs to get that key, and Ralphie's a good-natured dope. He's just along for the ride. So there's a scene I love when Bart has to carefully, with a broomstick, hook that keychain to get it out of there. It's hard because he's got like a long broomstick, so it takes a lot of subtle movement. He accidentally pokes Chief Wiggum in the face when he's sleeping, but then he finally gets it. But then he pokes him one more time just for fun. And God, that cracked
Gives
me
him
up.
one on the way out.
One quick poke in the face with that broom. Yeah. God. And I kept noting, like, dude, this fucking episode's actually good. I was excited.
Fucking funny.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, God damn it. There's some... the good scenes just fucking keep coming in this too. Like there's that part where they're playing Go Fish, and you can see Ralphie's cards. Hey, do you have a 3? Go Fish. And when Bart like pulls his hand out, well, see, here's the problem. You have 3 threes.
You have several threes.
Yeah. And he just goes, Go Fish. Like that's just the fucking game.
That's the game, is to say Go Fish. I love that at one point, it's around when Bart steals that master key with the broom. We cut back to Homer and Marge, who have a book of answering machine jokes, and they're trying to record a fun, outgoing message, which is such a fucking bored mom and dad thing to do. Holy shit.
Yeah. Some of the options they have were pretty good too.
Like one is the hustle, but it's just Homer going, leave a message. Da, 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 da. Holy good God.
Yep. So they got the key to the city and they are just having the time of their lives. They spend a lot of time in the toy store. Is it J.R.R. Toykins, I think it's called?
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah. And I had to write a message to you as someone who grew up in a tiny town. I bet you could count on maybe both hands how many times you've ever been inside a toy store in your life.
Probably one. Like,
Did they have a KB toy in the mall in Bismarck, I'm guessing?
Yep, a KB toy. I don't know that there was a Toys R Us. I think it was KB Toys.
In my notes here, I remember seeing commercials for Toys R Us, and just knowing that I had a better chance of visiting the fucking moon than I did ever stepping foot in a Toys R Us. Because first off, it's 250 miles away minimum to the closest one.
Yeah.
And our car could be on fire. Our family could be on a vacation. The car, flames shooting up from the hood. My dad would drive past a Toys R Us, even though a car could blow up at any minute. Because in his head, having children that are perpetually disappointed and sad builds character, ? There's no way we ever would have been allowed to go in there.
I think most of the toy buying in my youth happened in the toy aisle at the Target
store.
Or the Walmart or the Ben Franklin or something like that. I don't think there was a lot of time spent in full-on toy stores.
And were the trips to Bismarck so infrequent that it was considered kind of a treat? So you can maybe get a toy? Yeah.
Oh my God. Like we need to go to Bismarck for parts. Might as well have been
exactly right.
We're going on spring break to Cancun.
When I would overhear my dad mention it on the phone, I would get a level of giddiness that I wish I could achieve now. like oh shit. Like there was one of those weird times when me and my brother would be on the same team, kind of, hey, be cool, man. Don't fuck around. There's a shot we can go to Minot today. His best bait, which my mom had to know something was up. Like, these fucking kids, they part in their hair. What's going on? Like, dressed up like we're going to church.
Church clothes.
Pass the milk, George. Here you go, brother. Thank you, brother.
Yep, I vividly remember, like, oh god, we gotta go to the implement, or we're taking a load of scrap iron to the scrap iron dealer, to the junkyard.
Would they be like Porter Brothers?
Porter Brothers junk. Yep, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of Porter Brothers trips in my childhood too.
It's like that, because the trips are so infrequent that you waste the whole day. You make a whole day out of it, because you're going to get everything you could possibly need. So that means, like, we need to go get one tractor part, means we're also going clothes shopping, shoe shopping, going to the mall for a few things. We're gonna hit 40 different stores, and it's gonna be a 10-hour thing the whole time. So it also meant that odds are we're going to get to stop at the McDonald's in Mandan, which may as well have been Mecca for me. Like, holy shit, we get to go to Bismarck. That means McDonald's in Mandan for sure.
We never ate, well, not never, but rarely ever ate fast food. It was always like a sit down truck stop diner, or just a little mom and pop diner. Like,
there would be some of that, but I feel like 9 times out of 10 it was McDonald's in Mandan, and then if it was really a fucking treat, you picked up a Pizza Hut pizza and drove home with it.
Oh, yeah.
So then you got to be the kid in the back seat with the pizza, trying desperately not to eat any of the pizza all the way home.
I was just going to say that would not fly. I was just going to say it would never. My dad is way too much of a neat freak to allow eating in the car.
Oh, really? No, There was, like, eating was allowed in the car, but, like, you also weren't supposed to dig into that pizza. That was for supper tonight, you know? So you just sat there next to this fresh, piping hot, thin crust pepperoni lovers from Pizza Hut.
Like, looking back, we never, like, that's probably one of the reasons we never ate fast food, because we would have to go in and sit, because my dad would not have allowed us to eat in the car when we were little kids, just because the chance of,
No, we were buck wild. We were...
Yeah, just smashing ketchup packets with your fist. Dabbing the burger against the windshield covered in ketchup.
And then the whole, you're in Bismarck for the whole day, but you have all these things to do, like all these chores essentially that you have to do, that you also end up driving right past the go-kart track and the water slide park and so there was, you were excited to be there, but also knew that you were missing shit.
Yep. Yeah. I used to always wonder too, like, well, man, I bet if you grow up in these towns, you just get toys like 3 times a week, because this isn't even a treat. I bet your mom is buying you toys every time she goes grocery shopping. Which I've been told by big city kids, not the case.
But to a country kid, I think I thought the same thing. Like, this must be every day for these kids. They can go to McDonald's in Mandan anytime they want.
Yep.
Can you imagine what a life?
Yeah. I wonder if they just, your mom just had to give, or maybe I guess you grow up in a town like that, you just know it's not going to happen. But like, there'd be times we would go somewhere and my mom would, like, before we get out of the car, like, look me in the eye. Like, it's like right before the big game. Like, listen, we're going into the grocery store. You know what we're buying? We're buying groceries. You're not going to buy a goddamn balloon or whatever silly shit you want. This is just for food. And we're not getting 19 different kinds of cereal. We're going to get one. You're probably not going to like it.
The toy section at the grocery store, like, was, I remember it more grandly than it actually is.
Holy, you're too like I ended up working at that grocery store later in life in high school and looking at it, it's like in my head this was 7 feet tall. It is waist high. It's floor to 3 feet is all it is. Like you could trip over it if you walked into it as an adult.
And it's like all it is like a bottle of bubble solution to blow bubbles with,
Silly
two
putty.
different two different colors of silly putty, and a cap gun, and that's it. But that may as well have been the toy store from Big to me as a kid.
Yep. Oh no! Like, who were the kids getting? I always think that's like single dads. Like they're like in a panic and their kids are sad. Like, oh shit! I'm just gonna buy one of everything at the grocery store.
I always think the same as of those sections of the truck stop.
Stop, exactly. Yeah.
Oh shit! That's tomorrow, isn't it?
Oh man, I could get my daughter this Donald Rumsfeld plushie. This is what 19-year-olds like, right?
Hey, I got you a rubber band gun and a butterfly knife. Happy 8th birthday.
Yeah. Happy sweet 16. Speaking of, there's in the scene when they're in the toy store, they're on pogo sticks. Is that a toy that only exists on TV?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I don't think pogo sticks are real.
Yeah, they can't be but they have the time of their life in the toy store, and then they're going out and about, and then Bart gets the idea to go to the abandoned prison, which is just right in the middle of Springfield.
Because he wants to impress the delinquents.
Oh yeah, the bullies see them on the street, yeah, and they see that he's got that chain or that key that can get him anywhere. I love typical bully fashion. Peer pressure them into going into the abandoned prison and then immediately losing interest in doing it yourself.
Yep.
Like, what they want to go do is they want to go pick some huckleberries.
Yep, that's what they do instead.
Yeah.
After a rousing game of keep away, I have keep away PTSD. Apparently,
I was going to say I can sense a change in your voice.
As soon as they started tossing that around, guys, give it back!
Come
Holy
on,
shit!
guys.
I woke up 20 minutes later on the floor. I was shaking.
I peed my pants. Not again.
Oh god, that moment where like Bart is going to take the key, abandon Ralphie, and join the delinquents in the abandoned prison, and Ralphie goes, "But I thought we were friends," with tears in his eyes. Oh
yeah.
my god, heartbreak for poor Ralphie.
And then he falls in the mud. It was just
and the
one
kids
more
laugh
depressing
at
thing.
him.
Yeah.
Oh god, I think I made some breakthroughs in this episode.
Yeah.
I think I can skip a therapy session next month.
You pictured your childhood head on Ralphie's body.
Which I didn't have to imagine much. It's pretty close, I think.
You didn't have as a crisp of bangs as Ralphie has.
I didn't have that bowl cut, but it's other than that, it's pretty.
Man,
pretty
you're the
close.
right age to have had that bowl cut too. You'd have been 10 in 1995, so that's about perfect.
Yep, 95.
So it's a very spooky, as one would imagine, abandoned prison. They find the electric chair, which, holy shit, man, electric chairs are so fucking metal, dude. The fact that that's real life.
Electric chairs are horrifying.
Yeah,
I think you could put an electric chair next to an Iron Maiden and a sharpened sawhorse and be like, yeah, those all fit.
Like, why can't they just shock someone on the gurney thing that they do a lethal injection with, Hook them to
Why
that
does it
thing,
have to
shock
be
them.
a chair?
Chair with the fucking cap on their head? Shut up. My God. They need to have, fucking Dave Mustaine in the background just shredding during this whole thing. Whittly, whittly, wow.
Oh, man. We get so many good one-liners out of Ralphie, Ralphie-specific one-liners, because, no one else in this show could say these lines. But when they see that rat pick up the key and run away with it, and Ralph points and goes, "The pointy kitty took it."
Yep.
Holy shit. The fact that Ralphie's word for cat is pointy kitty, I was dying. That was the end of me.
And the episode, the ending is kind of anticlimactic. Not that it's a bad thing. It's just they had to wrap it up. So they get the key back to the Wiggum household, but it turns out for some insane reason they're going to open or reopen it, or they wanted to show. So for some reason the mayor is going to sit in the goddamn electric chair, and it turns out that they forgot to turn the safety back off when they were horsing around in there. And in a series of events, one that involves Lisa, she shoots a rocket, which misses the prison, which was a nice gag too. Yeah. And it lands on Burns' desk. And then there was another lame gay joke. Like, I got a rocket in my pocket. It's like, don't I know it? It's like, God damn it. The Smithers gay jokes
we don't need it.
So ham-fisted now. But it's like, wait a second. They've been getting free power at the abandoned prison for all these decades. So that's what ends up saving the mayor's life.
After getting electrocuted for a fair amount of time.
An alarming amount of time, which would...
they have their Green Mile scene.
And I love they're at the Simpson household, and they're all cheering for Ralphie, and he's so happy. And Lisa's like, why am I getting the credit? This is my idea. I was like, come on. It's for I thought that was like, come on. It's for Ralphie. And then she gets it. Like, this was wholesome as fuck. Like, good. Yeah. And... what a good episode. God, I needed this.
It was so good. This is above and beyond my favorite of this week. Again, if it's anything involving Burns or Ralphie, I am so in for. And so this felt catered to me.
Yeah.
And man, when they first show up at the Wiggum house and Ralphie's giving them the tour, there's two fucking banger jokes back to back. He points at the sandbox, goes, "That's my sandbox. I'm not allowed to go in the deep end." God damn it. And then points at a stump and goes, "That's where I saw the leprechaun, and he told me to burn things." Fuck. God damn it. That was so good.
And we do see the leprechaun at the end. Burn them all.
Burn them, Ralphie. Burn them all.
Oh, yeah. God, good episode.
I am noticing, like you said in that last one, and then, like the Lord of the Flies episode we watched earlier, the endings, and I feel like this has been this way for a while, seem so rushed. They're like, we just got to wrap this shit up,
Yeah.
The endings, I feel like, are often a weak point, but that Ralphie one, man, holy shit, that was a good episode.
Yep, boy. That was needed. We needed a lifeline. I needed a lifeline. I seem to be more pessimistic, but...
Yeah, you're the Debbie Downer of of the two of us, which I don't blame you for. I get it. I will, that's the thing. I'll readily admit that these are not as good as they were 2 seasons ago, but... still good.
You know what, Marlin? What I'm not going to do? I'm not going to stop watching.
No, hell no.
We got 3 seasons of this to knock out. And counting, mind you.
And counting.
But I'll be here faithfully watching these on my trusty laptop.
And we'll have to get another 5 lined up for next week. It'll be episodes 19 through 23. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's got to be right around there, yeah.
I counted on my fingers. I'm 35. Yes, it's 19 through 23.
The
numbering's no longer off because we got past that miscounted or that out of order one.
The Lisa the Simpson episode, yeah.
Yeah, so 19 to 23 of season 9 is the homework for the week. I am looking forward to those, as always. Not a lot else going on in life, over here anyway. I don't know how your basement living. Maybe you're wiling out over there.
Subterranean. I mean, it's getting warmer. That means the centipedes are going to come back. So,
oh yeah.
I don't know. Probably have to lay out some kind of peace offering to keep them as friends, not foes. So yeah.
And someday you'll rise out of the basement with your army of centipedes.
I need to just figure out if they're centipedes or millipedes. I don't want to be misspeciesing these animals. So.
Oh, yeah. You best figure out. You best pin one down and count some legs.
Yeah. I think they might be millipedes the more I look at them.
Let's see what the thorax situation is here as you're adjusting your glasses.
I haven't been calling them basement shrimp because I think that's fun, but I think that angers them. So I can hear their mandibles clicking at night.
Yeah, there's some angry chittering in your walls.
Not the playful chittering I was used to.
Yeah, you make friends with the centipedes, and I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, which isn't much of anything. Watching wrestling.
Sometimes a man just needs power slams to get through the evening.
19 to 23 for next week. You can follow us on all the social medias. We got Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook are all at Barley Basket USA. You can email us, barleybasketUSA@gmail.com. Those 5 episodes for next week, and everyone enjoy yourselves.
Bye, everybody.